Good evening and welcome to Corby TV. Here we are in the media centre at Steel Park. My name's Chuck. Hello. This is Michael.
Hello.
And I'm joined tonight, well, we're joined tonight, obviously, because it's our show.
It is.
By chairman, of obviously, a well-known chairman, a well-known face around town. That will be, of course, while I'm looking it up, Stevie Noble, and one of our main, I don't know, why, a helper at the club, a volunteer, hard worker, Pete Currall. Hello, good evening, both of you.
Good evening.
How are we both?
Fine, yeah.
So, we're at the pointy end of the season. How have you enjoyed it? Or haven't you?
Oh, I've enjoyed it. I mean, I am enjoying it. After last season, otherwise, don't go there, I don't want any negatives. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. We had a good start to the season. We had quite an indifferent middle part of the season when the manager left, but a good saying is one door shuts and another one opens. Well, one door shut and the barn door opened and all of a sudden Gary Sexual came through, so and you need a barn door for him, but no, fantastic. It's gave us all a buzz, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think what you said, Steve. Start of the season, a lot of new people in. I thought we played some good stuff, but we lacked a bit. And then things changed at, I think that New Year's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we changed over. And I think Gary Sessel's been impressed with the fresh air. So.
And of course, Pete, you go to, just to explain to everybody watching, you do go to all the games. You go to home and away games. You're there and you see the changes that have happened on the pitch since, as you mentioned, the 2nd of January. That was the last game that we had under Lee. So, it's been a lot of changes and it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season, but we seem to be back on track and everything's looking rosy again.
Yeah, well, it's we're back to doing basics, to be honest. We're enjoying it. I think everybody at the club, you mentioned there, what does Pete do? He does everything at the football club. He's the pitch manager, he does everything. It's just
Handyman.
Yeah, handyman, he does everything. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight was getting volunteers at the club. You know, if you have got a spare couple of hours during the week, even in the good weather, I mean the good weather's when most of the work gets done. He doesn't just look after the pitch, he looks after the whole stadium, you know, and he's got some really good guys that work with him. And it tends to be that the retired guys, I don't know whether it's just to get away from the missus, but they tend to come up and they last longer than the youngsters. Youngsters do a bit for us and that, but we're always looking for more people, and he does too. I keep saying him, he does too much. He's up here 7 days a week. I don't care what he says, I know he's up here 7 days a week because I'm usually up here 7 days a week, but he does too much.
It is the foundation of non-league football, though, isn't it? That you've got an army of volunteers that are helping out the club because they're supporters and they want to see the club do well.
Yeah, well, it's the same as used to. You know, I mean, without volunteers, we would never have a football club. You know, and if we had to pay this guy's wages for what he did, you know, I don't think Paul and James would be too happy. But yeah, he loves the club, you know, and all his helpers love the club. But we're always looking for more, always to lighten the load for him. You know, he won't ever moan, he won't ever say anything, but he just gets on with it. But you know, I want to keep him here for as long as I can. I want to keep him above ground, don't I?
Yep.
and it goes back. Pete. How long have you actually been a Corby Town fan?
Probably all my life, really. I got more involved. I took early retirement, so I've basically been up here on the ground since being on this ground. You know what I mean? With Ian Hopewell, Gary Seymour was in for a bit, and sort of gone on from there. And now we've actually got 3 great guys here now: Steve Polly, Alistair Sinclair, and Keir, young lad, 21. You know, really good lad. And you know. Any time he'll ring you, like today he couldn't make it because he was at a party last night. I won't blame him for that, but he's a really good helper. Do anything, you know what I mean? And that's all people you want. I think there's more people out there because you've got to realise we've lost John Wilson and Jerry Lucas, stalwarts of the club basically. I know time moves on and you've got Billy Mackay, the people who do the gate. People forget about them, don't they? You know what I mean? Turnstile people who do stand outside for the waving the cars in, you know, and it moves on from that. And I always look to the future, and I think we've got the close season coming up. If you want to do something, you know, give a lick of paint around the ground for the new season, brightens the place up, doesn't it? Don't take a lot, you know what I mean? But I'm certain there's people there that want to do it, but they come and see me, you know, always quite welcome, have a cup of tea, have a chat, and we can arrange something, you know. I think well appreciated, wasn't it, Steve? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just like I said, you asked them how long they've been doing it. As soon as they retire, they get out of the house. Getting away from it.
Basically, you're probably right. Yes.
It's an accolade that everybody that comes to Steel Park mentions how good the playing surface is, and that's down to the volunteers and the people that are actually working at the club to actually get that pitch looking as well, because without it you could be playing on down the Wessie.
Well, when we first got involved at the football club, I couldn't believe how much went into the pitch. I mean, I've been involved in football managing and what have you, and I've always just expected Pete's son, when I was at SNL, Pete's son used to do the pitch.
That's right.
But I never realised how much goes into it. And when I first came up here as chairman, I watched Pete out there, and Pete was walking across with a push more back and forward, and Kay's always pushing me to do more steps, you know, fitness stuff. I said, how many steps do you do? He does about 4.5 miles to cut the pitch. I thought, I don't know if I'm into that, like, but yeah, he was doing that for years, you know, all of them pushing these lawnmowers. So we did manage to get a grant a couple of years ago to get a decent mower for them to sit on, but he still finishes off walking on it. It's mental, but that's how it looks so good. You know, it looks as good as Hampden nearly.
I don't know where that is.
Yeah,
or what
well,
that
you wouldn't,
is.
because you're not a proper football guy.
Apparently, it's a little bit better than Westgate Park.
My view on pitches, you know, when people look, I always say no matter where anyone goes, whether it's Kettering or Wembley or Forest or Leicester, what's the first thing they look at?
Pitch.
When they go to see, they look at the pitch. That's what they look at, don't they? They don't look at the stand or anything. And we've got to realise the other thing on pitches, when you look at some of the old footage, not that long ago, 20 years, they were mud heaps, weren't they? Now these guys, they got undersoil heating. I had the guy up from Leicester. They cut the grass every day.
You're not getting that.
But yeah, I mean, it's important. Not only important. I think the aspect of pitches. There's two things. One is it makes the stadium good. Secondly, if you want good players to come in, you got a good ground, a good surface. You know, it's a bit of an attraction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Well, if it's flat and it rolls
Yeah.
well, it means the ball's going to travel better, and it just means that your players are going to be playing better, quicker, more attractive, and more demanding football. So, it's a very important thing. But as you say, the ground here at Steel Park, it does look good. It is like a proper football ground. We've been to some atrocious pitches, and you know who you are. We've been to some terrible grounds.
No comment.
And they're just not good at all. You know, some of them look like training pitches. Some of them don't. Some of them are on hills like that. But you know, it's a good pitch here. But we mentioned it, and with the conversation we had with Paul Glass last week, whether or not we should have some sort of stand at the bottom end of the pitch, because when that rain happened, it doesn't half soak the fans. We're thinking about you guys.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think Paul touched on it as well. We have looked at doing something there, and we are looking at seriously doing something there. But there's priorities, you know, at the football club. We would love to go out there and get it done straight away. I have been speaking to a certain person at the football club, a donator at the football club, about doing something for us. He's drawing up some plans for us and get it costed, to see if we would like to do something that we could add to. You know, get something done initially and add to it as time goes past. But obviously I think Paul spoke about the priorities. The priorities is to get out of this level of football. And money's hard to come by at the moment, with all the utilities, everything, all our expenses are going through the roof. So to keep the playing budget as best we can, to make us competitive, we're trying to focus and channel every penny into the playing staff. There's a major project that we want to get done at the football club, is the 3G or 4G or whatever they call them. They keep coming out with different things, but anyhow, it's a plastic pitch as far as I'm concerned, out there where the academy and the younger teams play. You know, we want to get that ball rolling, so we're heavily into that at the moment. But we can't commit any finance to it until we get to the next level, and two, that we get all the ducks in a row. And I think Paul touched on it as well, all the things that we've added to the football club, disabilities teams. We're starting a project during the summer for children with disabilities between 5 and 11. We've been granted that project by the FA, so we're going to run that for 13 weeks to see how we get on with that. Okay. But that's, it's all aspects of the community that we want to serve, because we are a community club. We've been saying it from day one. I mean, except when we took over, all we had was the first team, but we've added to that, and I do think that we service all parts of the community now, even with the walking footballers. It's if you want to laugh, go and walk it. They'll entertain you. I don't mean they're funny to look at. Well, they are. When I play, it's funny to look at, but they entertain you. It's so we're spreading throughout the community of Corby, and trying to get into all the new people that are coming into the town. But yeah, we have got serious projects, and the plastic pitch is top of the list. And that's something that we need major funding with. And ironically, but like a lot of things in this country, the higher up you are, the more access you get to biggest percentages of money. I've never been able to understand that, but that's the rules. So we have to work with the rules. So ironically, if we get promoted, we can get a bigger share of the money from the Football Foundation towards it. So.
Is it actually coming from the Football Foundation or from the FA? Because the FA have announced they're offering what would seem to be more money coming out of top league and dripping down.
Well, what it is you get different pots. You get different pots that you can access, and the FA are one of the pots that you can get. I mean, to get a project like that off completed, the most you'll ever get off of the Football Foundation or club at our level, probably about 50, maybe 60% of the project, and you're looking at currently £800,000. By the time we go, it could be a year, 18 months away. It'll be £900,000 if things continue to rise. So you're looking at probably 50-60% of that. So you've still got to find 50 or 40%. But there is other pots that you can access, and you can access those pots if you are looking after your community. So within the FA will give you access to pots to help with disability, because disability footballers have to play on a true surface, and it's ideal for the walking footballers, because it's not just guys that are a wee bit rotund like myself, and me and you, Michael, but there is people that are coming back from serious illnesses and operations. Though the NHS encourage them to participate in sport, walking football is ideal for that, but a true surface is ideal for them. So there is opportunities there that the money gets diverted through the NHS project. So there's a lot of pots that you can dabble into and get small amounts, but all that money going into the pot eventually gets you your pitch, and that is it's an aim for the football club.
And as you mentioned, it's all about making the club more inclusive, which brings us on to the ladies team, because they're there as well. We're hoping to have an interview with the ladies team very soon, but they seem to be doing quite well as well. And they're drawing in lots of young girls and people that need to play football.
A very, very proactive part of the football club. They're, they don't sit in their laurels. They right from the top all the way down, the ladies and all the girls. You never hear any moaning from them. They just get on with it. There's a lot of guys involved in football want people to do things for them. They don't. They're very proactive. They know what they want and they want to get it done. The ladies that are playing up here now, I mean, it's a beautiful pitch for them. We do try, they're looking for volunteers on match days, because the match day experience that we have for the first team, we'd like to get that going with the ladies. They play up here on a Sunday. Robbie, I'm sure Robbie the Raven, or maybe Rabina the Raven, would come out for that, I don't know, come out for that day. And get the tannoy going, get somebody like yourself, announcing their teams and getting the little mascots to come out with the ladies. So their match days are something that we're really, because if you turn your TV on, you'll see as much girls and ladies football on the telly as men's, so that's an area of the town that we have tapped into and we want to increase to do it.
And obviously that's happening with the ladies, and they're playing. It seems to be that they've got half a dozen different levels of age groups.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of girls that are playing football, which is great. It's great for the town. And the youth team are playing up here on the 3rd of April against a team called, I have to look at this, it's such an odd name, ON Chenix. What's that mean? ON Chenix. 7:45, 3rd of April, so get up for that. But it's great to have the youth team here because they will be feeding into the main team eventually, possibly.
Well, they are now.
Yeah.
You know, we've had, previous managers, some of them have took youngsters into the first team, some of them haven't, you know, but Gary's philosophy is, if he's good enough, he's old enough, you know, so, so there's been one or two on the bench already, but yeah, his philosophy is, if you're good enough, you're in, so.
And that brings us back to the fans, of course, because they're the people that bring the money in, or some of the money come into the club because they have to pay the entrance fee. And it's been on a rise. Let's talk about certainly the good fans that we've got, because they're the ones that are enjoying it. They're the ones that are going away and telling their friends, oh, we were at Steel Park the other night, what an occasion.
Well, look at last Wednesday, you know, 659 for a midweek game. I was amazed the amount of people that came in. You know I'm out there by the turnstiles and match days, and it looked a bit quiet early on. And I thought, you know, there's not a lot of kids about, and then all of a sudden, the last half hour, you know, people were pouring in, and I think they enjoyed it. It was a good game. But yeah, you know, the podcast I did before about things that are happening. Well, we want these people to continue. Families are coming up to the game. And all these kids, I remember it when I first came to Corby, going down to Occupation Road. You know, you're up there with all your schoolmates. I mean, you know, the back end of the stand, the far end. I mean, we used to play football in there when the game was on, and all the guys for school, you know, you met your schoolmates up here. That's what's happening here. Now, we don't want to discourage that. We want people to come up here and enjoy the game. But yeah, I mean, 99%. The supporters have been fantastic, absolutely fantastic, but it's just the small minority, as I spoke about before. I don't want to bark on about the negative stuff, but yeah, we've got good people in Corby. I think they've stood by us. Some of the performances, and we have to hold our hands up. Some of the people that we've got in over the past years haven't been the best. I mean, you don't know that when you interview them and when they come on board, but and they've stood by us, you know, through that, which is hard, I would think, to spend your hard-earned money up there, especially going to games when you more or less know what's going to happen. Now we're going and we more or less know what's going to happen, but we've got a chance of winning games, you know. So it's I'm glad to see that they did stick by us, and they are good people. They're honest people. You know, I say to every manager when they walk through that door and we appoint them, if you go out there, you get your teams go out there and they work hard and they've got sweat and their kits need washed. You know, because we've had teams up here where you could take the kit off them and hang it back up in the wardrobe at the end of the game, but not with this guy. You know, the kits need washed, and that shows that they've went out there and worked, and they appreciate the guys sitting in that stand. If they see effort, they're happy with that.
Pete, to bring you in, there's something that happens, and it seems to only happen to Corby Town, and that's the half-time draw. That's not unique to Corby Town, but the money that's made by the winner of the half-time draw, we're talking 200. It was 250 quid last week. I mean, that's tremendous. You go out there and sell tickets to people. Do you find it difficult selling tickets, raffle tickets to people, or do you think they come and go, no, this is going to be worth having, I'll have a pop on this?
Well, two things. I mean, I think, you know, I did it a lot, not so much lately, because other lads, Luke and Dominic had done it, but maybe in their faces a little bit. But people got used to it now. People are looking for it, like you said, Chuck, £200, 200, it's average about 200, 210. I've wrote everyone down for the season, so I've got all the data on it, you know what I mean? And that's unbelievable. We go away as 40 quid or something, you know? But the guys have worked hard, and that's some sort of revenue to the club, isn't it? It pays for something, doesn't it? And yeah, if you get people used to things, it's like coming here, isn't it? You know, they'll do it again, won't they? You know? But The other thing I would say three things. I know it's right at this time of the meeting. I'd say three things happened here. One is I give the board complimentary because we spent probably £5,000 or £6,000 on the pitch. Close season. Sand, 60 tonne of proper sand, verti draining, seeding, fertiliser. It's not cheap. You know what I mean? And the other one, Steve. You talk about a job, and I think Steve's got about 19 jobs. You know what I mean? Not one job. And people don't realise that, you know.
Well, you can do a few more of those.
Yeah, I can do a few more. You guys too. You guys are the same.
He's only got one title, and that's chairman.
You're the same, Michael and Chuck. You do your bit. That's part of the club, isn't it? That's how a club functions, doesn't it? I do honestly believe that, you know. And I just checked up on a point of the pitch. I checked today. We've had 43 games on the pitch with tonight.
Right.
So that's, you know, you're probably talking by the end of the season 70 games, aren't you? Probably that's about 5 times the amount the Spurs have on their pitch, you know.
I doubt it.
But those are good games.
Yeah. And you won't get Lady Gaga playing on our pitch, unfortunately.
I think she's played football sometime. But yeah, he's not taking credit for that. It's when he started getting involved with the 50-50. And Steve and Alistair,
that's right.
You know, they started going about the crowd because you come in the gate. I'm not knocking the two lads, you know, that they've been doing it for years, but you get a crowd coming through the gate at one time. They don't get to the 50-50, you know. So in the past, if it's been busy, they'll just walk past it. Well, it wasn't rocket science, but nobody else thought about doing it. So Pete, being the old codger that he is, thought I'll chase them for money. So they started going into the bar and walking around the ground, and that's how it's went. I mean, that money that comes in for that pays a bill, you know. Virtually don't quite pay the officials, but it goes a long way to pay that, you know. So it helps, you know. Every penny comes in as a prisoner.
Last couple of seasons have been fraught with kind of end of season problems. Most of it was COVID. We had 2 seasons of that. We had an end of the season that kind of, I think we all just wanted to put it to bed at the end of last season, once we left Belper, and not really bring it out of the box for another couple of months. But this year would be the perfect year maybe to have some sort of end of year presentation or some sort of function at the end of the year. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. Yes, so you sort it then. Pick out the date and let me know what you want and I'll help you get it.
That idea came from Jim Darry. If you're listening, Jim, please put your thinking hat on and see what we can do with that.
He must have done it lying on a beach somewhere.
But
you're right, quite right. We've not had a lot to celebrate over the past few years, but certainly at the end of this year, win, lose or draw, no matter what's happening, we'll go into the close season with our tails wagging and ready for next season. You know what level we're at. If we're still at this level, we'll be firing to go into next year. And if we're fortunate enough, maybe, you never know. You never say never in football. If we get a bit of luck, then we'll be ready for that as well. You know.
10-4 on the side. He's done it again, ladies and gentlemen. It's a shocker. What have we got, Michael?
That's a good question, Chuck. Easter soccer camp coming up. How's the uptake on that been? Is there spaces still available?
Yeah, there is spaces still available. You need to speak to Dominic about the exact amount, but there is spaces available. It's these summer camps, the Easter summer camp or the Easter spring camp or whatever you call it, and the half-term camps are good for the football club in many ways. Not just for, you know, the kids coming up here and participating, but we actually get the young academy boys. We try to get them put through their level 1s and level 2s because we want them to develop as coaches as well, helps them with football as well, helps them look at full-time jobs. Well, we work them through these, you know, so they come up and they work with the children as well, you know, so it's a good experience for them. So there's many things come with that. It's not just the kids, you know, it's a bit of a creche, isn't it, for some of the parents. But the kids love them. But yeah, there's serious stuff behind it as well. You know, it's the kids our kids, you know, our academy boys get good experience from it. You know.
And how much is it to go on the actual soccer camp itself? Or is that a question for somebody else?
Yeah, it's a question for Dominic. I believe it's approximately £15 a day. I think it is. And if you pay
for the week, isn't it?
if you pay for the week, you basically get a day for nothing if you book for the week. But it's very competitive if you look at, because there's other ones about the town. But there's other people put them on, but ours is very competitive, and they get to play up here. You know, the kids love it. I've come up a few times, but it's my grandchildren come here, and I don't want to get roped in. It's bad enough for the job to do.
Check the social media channels, all the information will be on there, so that's the best thing to do. Obviously, if you are watching on YouTube, still subscribe. We need that, thank you.
And they'll get a run out on the main pictures. Kids love that, don't they? At least
I'd like that. I just can't run.
You're too old. Walking football, maybe.
Maybe. But yeah, we both appreciate the fact that obviously you're very busy. There's a game here tonight. We're filming this on a Monday, so there is a game here tonight. The youth game's on here tonight, so we won't hold you up any longer unless you think there's something else you need to be discussing.
Yeah, there's only one other thing that I want to discuss. We've got trials at the moment for the full-time academy. We've got a new education provider. I think you'll find that if you look at our programme, I think we've had a very good programme for many years now with this, but we did look into trying to make it better. So we've got a new education provider, and the education provider are doing what we want done. The majority of these academy things that they're all over the place, most clubs are doing them now, are just like what they do in normal colleges. They go and do the football qualification, they play a game, and then they leave after 2 years. Ours is a bit more than that. Ours is from day one, is we want to make sure when the kids come to us, when they leave after 2, or some of them stay on for 3 years, or they do the full, the higher qualification, that they've got opportunities, and we like to make sure that they leave here. If they want full-time employment, then we work to get them full-time employment. I don't know another academy that does that. So, this education provider are working with us to ensure that they, help them with things like CVs and interview techniques and what have you. I mean, there's not another academy. I don't know of any another academy. Even the pro academies don't do that.
And does that also go back to some of the sponsors that we've got on the board behind us here that would reach out and say,
well, I mean, we used to,
space.
for many years ago, you mentioned that, that we've had difficult times nationally, that COVID stopped us doing placements, work placements, what have you, and insurance stopped that. I used to do it when I had the pub. I used to take kids in and show them how to pour beer, basically, or anything, just work experience. But a lot of them stopped because they couldn't get insurance employers, but they're starting to do them now, companies. So we've got a lot of sponsors up here, so the kids come in here, they're never going to play for, one of the top clubs, but they can come in here, get coached at a high level, and if they're good enough, they'll get paid to play, maybe not at Corby, but somewhere else. But more importantly, they get 3 university points, which can get them into university after they finish their course. And if they want to go into the leisure industry, I mentioned earlier about working with the kids at these camps, but we also go into the schools and do an after-school programme. We do it at a lot of schools and the primary schools. We've had lads in the past that have ended up being school teachers because the teachers have seen how they work with children, give them jobs within classroom assistants, and then put them through they've got the qualification to go to university for a year. They come back and they're school teachers in the town now. So, but COVID put a stop to a lot of that, so they'll basically just be coming and getting the qualification and not a lot else. But we're back on track with that now, firing fully. They get their level 1 coaching badge so they can coach, earn money. They can actually go and coach kids, get paid for it. At that age, between 16 and 18, they want to, they want to earn money, kids. So, they can do that, coaching kids, rather than go to Aston and stack shelves at midnight. So it's all about giving yourself opportunities, isn't it?
It is.
And we're good at it. So if you're interested at all in doing one of these courses, we're actively looking now to fill next year's cohorts.
So if that certainly is something that floats your boat, contact the club, any of the social media channels, contact us directly, and we'll get back to you and give you the detail.
There's a plus side for that, Chuck, too, from the football sense. They play 90% of the games on here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only when it's really wet or something, they play on the outside pitch. I know they train there, but they have 90% of their games are played out here.
Well, you're playing at football. Yeah.
And that's a plus. And I can assure you, other academies don't do that. They don't play on the main pitch,
No. But there you go. So another interesting podcast here from Corby Town, and obviously, as I say, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any other channel, just follow us, and thanks very much. And obviously, be involved. Come to Steel Park, see the team. As I say, 3 more games left. By the time this goes out, I think you're down to 2 more. But check the local details on all our social media sites so you can see when we're at home. But it's the pointy end of the season and things are hotting up. Come on, the Steel men, isn't that right?
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, Pete Currall and Stevie Noble. My name's Chuck. This is Michael. Cheers.
Cheers.